thought that I want to go back to this, Utpala, because it was so magnificent. We've been complaining about, we were trying to say that the body and mind are not unchanging, and the body and mind are not autonomous. And we finally had a clear reason for both. We say the body and mind are changing because, and then we jump down to here, right? Connection between these words and these words. The body and mind are changing because they start and stop by the moment, okay? We had that connection. And then we could draw another connection, ... The body and mind are not autonomous, they are dependent. They're at the mercy of other forces. I like that for Shenwang. Because they're at the mercy of what?
Karma and
and negative emotions and karma, right? Okay, so that was a big, nice moment in her text. We finally got the connection, Shenwang, at the mercy of other forces, means at the mercy of karma and your negative thoughts. And then, things are not unchanging because they're changing. That wasn't very helpful, but okay. Now, Namala Kabayade, the former connection of the two, there's a former connection and a latter connection. He says, there is a former kyaba, which means, what should we say? I guess it's a reason for a reason. Why are things starting and stopping? I don't know. Hang on. I don't think that's it.
Well, he gave him a cap to our original statement.
I think this.
They're autonomous because they are changing and are at the mercy of other forces.
But I think this kyaba refers to this one. Okay, this one was the body and mind which received the name, which received the picture, are changing and dependent. Okay, so here he says, if the body and mind, which are, he's talking about this kyaba. Okay, this kyaba, to state the kyaba, is if the body and mind which are receiving the name, the label, are changing and dependent on something else, then it is changing and okay. If a thing is changing and not independent, if it depends on its parts. That's not true either. Anyway, if it depends on parts which are changing, okay, the heaps, the body and mind, because the chuchen is person, okay, the chuchen up here is person. The person is changing and not autonomous because it depends on its parts, which are changing and not autonomous. Okay, got it? Mm-hmm. If its parts are changing and not autonomous, then the thing that is labeled to it is also changing and not autonomous. Okay?
Isn't it the king of reason? Is it the same?
Yeah, pretty much. Namalak, so that's the kyaba he's talking about. That's the former kyaba he's talking about here. It's this thing up here. Okay? And you know that from the thing that comes next. So sometimes you have to figure it out from what comes next. Because you must establish, you have no choice, good, but to establish the self based on the body and mind. The person, you have no choice but to establish the person based on the body and mind. Okay? If it's true that you have no choice but to establish the person based on their body and mind, and if their body and mind are changing and not independent, then the person who depends on the body and mind must also be changing and not independent. Okay? Got it? Okay?
Yeah.
Just nod.
So,
So this
establish the person is 10, eh?
joke. Joke means establish. Yeah. Yeah. Joke means to establish. Okay. It looks like juke, so don't get confused. And it looks like jig. Juke means to enter, jig means to destroy. And joke has a different meaning. Joke means to establish. Okay? You can't have a person without its parts. A. B. If its parts are changing and not independent, then the thing that depends on those parts should also be changing and not independent.
Right.
Okay, got it? Okay. This is sexy. Wow. She's excited. Deda Chepetse. When we do this examination, and you're gonna trip on Chepa from time to time, SPYAD, to act. Yeah, DPYAD,
Examine.
to examine. Okay, so be careful between those two. Watch out. Don't make mistakes between those two. And if you want an extra excitement, the Tibetans often get confused between those two. So you're gonna have, it's gonna say S when they mean examination, it's gonna say D when they mean activity. Okay.
That mixes it up a little bit.
It gets more exciting. So it's contextual. There will be times when you have to figure it out contextually, and you have to correct it. You have to correct the writer. Okay. Okay. When you examine this question, when you are examining whether the person is changing or dependent based on its parts, okay, when you're in this exercise, okay, of figuring it out, when you finally realize that the person is mitapa,
I'm sorry, where are you?
mitapa, right here.
Oh, changing.
Yeah. When you finally realize that the person is changing, okay, now this is a new expression for you guys. It's very unique Madhyamika language, okay? It's not found in other subjects. So that's why that's why we're having all the different subjects around one table. Because I want to download my knowledge of the 5 or 6 unique languages. So some people never get Vinaya. They never study Vinaya. They never study Abhidharma. They can read Madhyamika, they can't read Abhidharma. My goal is that we download all of it. Okay. And each language took many years to master. Okay. So this is unique Madhyamika language. Say Longor. Kek. So Kek is related to Gak.
Stop.
Okay, yeah, stop. And Ngo we talked about. It's similar to Ng.
The face of?
Yeah, the face of something, like the face of the screen, okay, or the face of the wall, the surface which presents itself, okay. So here it's talking the face of the mind. Okay. So what he's claiming is that if you understand that the person is changing, then the idea that they are unchanging and autonomous is blocked from the mind's face. It can't come in. It is boycotted. It is blockaded. You see, it's very interesting.
Maybe kek is like get.
Yeah, exactly. It's a passive form. Chepa po ngusum mepa. No direct doer. Which is the kind of the distinction between passive and active in Tibetan verbs. Okay, which we're not gonna. I mean, we could go there.
That'd be great.
Understand the person is
English verbs are generally divided into active or passive. Okay, like I shoot the gun. The rain is a good example. Well, no, that's a bad example.
I listen and I hear.
Yeah, you can say that.
Not passive and active?
That's reflexive.
Oh, really?
That's a different thing. But anyway, he was hit by the car, or the car hit him.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so the car hit him is active. He was hit by the car as passive, meaning from his side he was hit, or the car hit him. So in English, the difference is between passive and active. In Russian, it's reflexive or active. So anyway, I wash myself, for example, myться. You have to add an ending to see it's done to yourself, or here it's done to yourself. That's a different subject. But in Tibetan, the big difference is chepapo musu yupa and chepapo musu mepa. Say chepapo musu yupa and chepapo musu mepa. Chepapo means doer. B-Y-E-D. Chepapo.
Would you spell those?
B-Y-E-D. P-A-P-O. D-P-A-P-O. Chepapo. And then musu is taonga narang sang. Sa shep kyosu. Tao. Tao means a prefix letter. Tao. Nga. Narong. Ngo. You already high tone it while you're jaw locking. Tao nga narong ngo. Sang mu. Direct. Musu directly. Musu. Musu yupa. And musu mepa. Okay. So the big difference in the Tibetan verb is there a direct agent or not? Does it demonstrate a direct agent or not? Okay. So the direct agent for the verb to stop is ngak or gok, D-G-O-G or apostrophe G-A-G, stopper. Okay. But if you say stopped without mentioning a direct doer, it's kek. So normally it goes to the aspirated column. Normally it goes to the aspirated column. Okay. Third column will be the active verb.
God, that's helpful.
And the second column will be more no direct doer. Okay. Kick. Kick. And it sounds softer, right? It sounds softer. Ngok. Gok. Or kick. You know, it's more past, it's more or less of a, okay. Normally it'll be like that. So here's a verb you don't see much, kick. It means nobody stopped it. It just got tired out and stopped appearing to the mind. Okay? It couldn't present itself to the mind. So that's how you have to translate it, okay? It couldn't present itself to the mind. Once you understand that Utpala is changing, then the idea that she's unchanging and the idea that she's independent cannot present itself to your mind anymore. They are blocked from presenting themselves to the mind's eye. Okay, in English we say the mind's eye. Yeah. Okay, got it? Now, whether that's true or not, you know, I can see your mind going tick, 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 tick. You know, whether that's true or not, hopefully he'll say more about it. Okay. Like I can understand how it would stop naturally, prevent naturally the idea of it being unchanging. But how is it true that if I understand that Upala is changing, I automatically won't get the idea that she's autonomous? Because that's what he's claiming. He's claiming it covers both. Okay. Now he's going to give you more information. La, and now he goes one more step. De kekpa. If those thoughts are blocked from occurring to the mind, which is that Utpala is unchanging and autonomous, if those thoughts are blocked, then Kasa Rangi Pumbole Denshin de Yupa kek. Then a subsequent thought will be kicked. A subsequent thought will be blocked from the mind. What is the subsequent thought? That the person could exist independently of their mind and body, meaning the soul thing. You know, the little crystalline soul thing. Okay, so.
Okay, what's the dun doing?
Oh, Dunshan, a different thing than the heaps. A different object, a separate entity. In English, we'd say separate entity. In a separate entity. The idea that the person could exist as a separate entity from the body and mind is kicked by the kicking of the idea that it could be unchanging and autonomous. Once you kick the first one, the second one can't, it's in line behind the first one, and it can't approach the mind either. It's automatically, it's like here the mind didn't take a shower for 3 days. And then cake, nobody wants to get close to the mind. These ideas will not come to the mind. And they're in a line. Okay, what's the first one? The idea that upala could be two things. Unchanging or autonomous. Once this guy leaves, this guy leaves. What's this one? The idea that she could exist as a separate entity, independent of her body and mind. Meaning some soul that stays around after you die. Which is a very Christian idea, you see. Okay, got it? In the DCI class today, we're going to talk about not offending people's religious sensibilities. Like, don't use the word in future lives in DCI. Explain flower number 4, which is why when you die, you're going to have a big surplus of seeds that must open, but don't talk about future lives. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
Let them figure it out. You see? Yeah, okay, you got that? You agree? Yeah, okay, I agree. Why? They've been doubling every 24 hours. Okay, so you die with a lot more seeds than you started with, right? Yeah, I got it. And they can't be destroyed, right? Yeah, I got it. And they have to open, right? Yeah, I got it. Okay. Don't mention future lives. When you say future lives, people shut down. They're like, and it's similar here, We don't have to say we're talking about a Christian idea of a soul. But we are. Okay.
Who's talking?
Wrong loop. Our side. Yeah. If you kick this, you kick this. Okay.
We don't know which school.
Well, we're in it's Prasangika reporting lower schools. So that's tricky. When a higher school is reporting a lower school, it gets nasty. You don't know who's talking. Okay. Takchi Rawan Chengi Dam Mempa Ngempa Giro. And once you've kicked those two guys,
Stopped.
Once those two guys' approach to the mind has been blocked, you're gonna have a real fun with this expression. Once their approach to the mind has been kicked, okay, then you can ascertain, ngepa as a verb, as certain, right? Ascertain. As an adjective, ngepa means
Definitive.
certain. Take off the A and S. As a verb, it's add the AS, ascertain. Okay, as certain. Okay. Anyway, you will ascertain. Dagme, anatman. You did it. You understood that things have no self nature, which is now 3 things. Now, what's bothering Upala, although she doesn't know it yet. Okay, are you telling me just understanding that a person is changing is gonna result in the blocking of 2 separate thoughts to my mind, which is that they are unchanging and autonomous. And then in the end, that's gonna have a triple result. I no longer think they're unchanging, singular or autonomous. And he claims yes. He says cake 1, cake 2, cake 3. Okay? It's a domino effect, according to him. Okay? Which means the taking and the chicking and the rangwanchen must be related somehow. To a more fundamental mistake. Yeah. But it's a very interesting point of view. If I can prove to you that you're not Dakpa, you will come to understand that you're not Chik or Rangwanchen. This sentence is amazing.
But if that were true, would there be lower schools?
I don't know. You can always find an idiot who thinks something. When you get into the realm of illogic, there's always candidates. But for anything, I should run over 50 people with a truck because somebody took my country.
Is that can or will?
Will come to be.
Will.
You will. Yeah, you will. In English, sometimes the
It's
future
passive?
tense is no, it's not passive. It's well, it's a passive verb. I mean, it will come to be. You will
So
come.
like it's stopping, it's going to passively.
You will perceive. Nyapa can sometimes just be perceived. You will perceive that. You will perceive the lack of a self nature, which is unchanging, singular, and autonomous. Okay, got it? I like that sentence. That sentence would make a nice book. Okay. And by the way, we're about to hit the sutras explanation. So if you want to ask, where are we? We were in Vaibhashika. And, okay.
I thought we hadn't gone in.
And I gave you those headings for free. Okay. Now he continues with a logical flow. Dinde dagmengeshin gomna. If you do perceive this kind of a lack of self-nature, and if you meditate on it, so not you figure it out, you hear it in the class, pen doesn't come from itself, but then you go meditate on it. Okay. Dagme tamo gomba mayinbe. Mayin. You translate. Dagme tamo gomba mayin.
The subtle self.
Good. Subtle lack of a self. Gom. Meditation.
Yeah, meditation
Mayin.
is not.
It's not. That's not meditating on the subtle lack of a self. Okay? That's interesting. Now we're learning so much from these two sentences. You figure out that Bets is not unchanging. You will come to realize that she's neither unchanging or autonomous. And then you will come to realize that she's neither singular or unchanging or autonomous. And if you meditate on what you just figured out, that's not the subtle lack of a self.
Right.
Wah, wah. Yeah, sorry. No, okay. He's saying that. Who is the author here? Choney Lama, I guess. He says, you didn't get to the meditation on a lack of a subtle lack of a self. That's a gross lack of a self. That's a lower school. Lower schools are meditating on obvious lack of a self, but not the subtle one. And here's the other bad news. Okay, since you are not meditating, since that's not meditating on the subtle lack of a self, then it's not gonna
Show itself? Oh no, that
Contained.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's not gonna do it now. In logic, the word ne means do damage to another idea. It's not going to do damage to another idea. Got it? So in logic, when you say ne, don't translate it as harm or injure. Or in logic, ne means to damage an idea. You know, you thought you were blah blah, but I tell you that, and then it damages your wrong idea, or something like that. Okay. By the way, ne is different from geng. Damage or disprove is different, right? Damage means it's gonna destroy some of it, but maybe not all of it. So that's another implication of ne. It's gonna damage it. It may not remove it. It may not remove it. Dislodge. Yeah. Okay. Now, what does it not damage? Directly. Okay.
The inborn tendency.
Yeah, the inborn tendency to believe things have a self nature or are themselves. Yeah, good. I like that. Okay.
And this is the detailless idea of an inborn
No,
tendency, not Sangika's idea of an inborn tendency.
Now that's a damn good question.
I
don't think so. I think that this is the highest school's version.
Yeah,
We'll just say it's
I
not.
think he's criticizing the detailist. I think he's because I don't think a detailist would say that their system had any weaknesses. You see what I mean?
Probably.
Yeah. So, but okay, here's the good news. Dagme rakpa gomba yimbe. Since you are gomba
meditating.
on dagme rakpa.
The
The gross form.
Yeah, on the gross form of no self. Okay. It does damage musu directly your learned habit to see things as a self-nature. It does damage that, even in the higher school. So it helps to understand the first 2 or 3 of the 6 flavors of emptiness. That's the point. It helps us. Somebody tell me the implication of musu here.
Directly.
I know that's what it means, but what's it mean?
Damages it directly.
What's the opposite of direct?
Indirectly.
When you say it doesn't directly damage it, what are you saying?
Oh, we just had this, like, if you do one, you'll hit the other, you'll hit the other.
Yeah.
Right? But in this case, we're
Yeah,
going straight
good.
to the one.
Yeah, it'll indirectly damage your innate tendency to believe in the self.
Right.
Not directly though. Not right away, but it's a step in the right direction. That's what he's saying. In English we say a step in the right direction. If you keep going that way, you're going to damage the innate one. It's a good first step, but it doesn't directly damage the big one. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
Got it? So musu is a mayingak here.
No, directly damage the gross.
It's now in Adam's text. There's going to be a long explanation of mugyus and gyugyus. Anybody want to take a shot at that? Mugyu and gyugyu.
Direct causes and then what's that word? Indirect causes.
Yeah, indirect causes.
Yeah.
Okay. Direct causes and indirect causes. You know, I broke my computer when it slid off one of these SCIM tape desks. That's the direct cause, okay? But the indirect cause is that we bought the desks. You see what I mean? See, that we bought these desks that are very slidable. And then that didn't cause the breaking of the computer, but it created a condition that was conducive to the breaking of the computer.
Right direction.
Yeah, it was a step in the right direction. Okay.
So indirect causes are like conditions of this thing. Ken?
Yeah, you can, that's sometimes different, sometimes not. When your text says kin,
Right.
it's not different.
Right.
Okay. When his text says kin, it is different. Okay, got it? In his text, kin is secondary cause, factor. We can say factor rather than a cause. Or a condition, causes and conditions. Conditions are usually lesser causes.
Lesser even than.
So when you say gyudan ken means conditions. But when you say ken in your text, when Nagarjuna says ken in your text, he's talking about the whole structure of dependent origination.
Right.
Okay, so, all right.
Actually, he's also saying then that belief in a subtle self is inborn and belief in a gross self is learned.
You could say that. There's some correlation there.
He seems to be implying
Yeah,
that,
there's
right?
some correlation there. Yeah.
That's kind of a big deal.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Okay, we graduated from Vaibhashika. And just to review, we were studying what they think is emptiness, but they don't call it emptiness, they call it dangme. They call it lack of a self-nature. I encourage you not to say lack of a self, as I mentioned before, because in English, self doesn't often refer to a table. It can, only in the pronoun itself.
Oh, itself.
You know, but that's all. You know, nobody else talks about, oh, table, do you feel good today? You know, okay, like that. So I discourage you from using self, because it has confused so many generations of people, using self for Atman.
So what you always say?
Self-nature, at least self-nature. If your mind is open enough, say the thing is not itself. Okay, for dogme.
So this is what we say on
No, you gotta be careful.
Poly.
Low, short A, long A. Atman. Atman. Yeah.
On Atman would be like a
An
whole lot of
Atman.
Can you say self-existent? That's where say DC. I said
You can say that.
it's in the
It's not something we
It's
do
different.
the waiter test. Do the waiter test. Say, is this coffee itself? And the guy will say, wow, that's a cool idea. And if you say, does this coffee have self-existence? He'll go, what is, he'll go like this a little bit. He'll hesitate. You don't want your reader hesitating. When you're a translator, you don't want your reader going, ooh. They don't want to, you want to give a reader as few technical terms as you can. And a subset of that is ever using a foreign word. Then you're not a translator, okay? Unless it's like Sampa. I mean, it doesn't exist in America, It's a food. It's a unique food. That you can call hummus, You can use hummus, but don't give me other foreign words. If it can possibly be stated in English, because you're a translator. Okay.
Yes, I was going to ask about, so dakme, meaning
Yeah.
things are not themselves.
Ooh, I'll kiss you, but yeah, you don't have a beard, so I guess.
Just my recorder.
Okay.
The thing that sort of I wonder about that is that because this text is going to be getting into the classical division of things into persons and things.
Oh, then you'd have to say the
confusing
person
to
is not
say
itself. You just
Dakme
said
means things are not themselves.
when it says kansaki dogma, you have to say the person is not itself.
Yeah,
himself.
but when it's just by itself, if you say
Yeah.
things, is that going to
Then it's the big things, which is divided into things, and that's okay. Buddhism does it.
does the reader get it?
I think so.
reader get
When you say everything in the universe, an American understands you're talking about people also. Well, if I say to you everything in the universe, does that include Seiji? Then you say, oh yeah, okay. But is he a thing as opposed to a person? No. But when you say everything in the universe, I think people are comfortable with thinking that people are in there.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, we're on to the Dodepas Sutras. Nipala, so,
She's moving fast.
Rangya tupe dame de kansa ke dame chamotseni zoper rangipa menche ki rande de kyang. So let's go to here. Rangipa menche ki rande de. Rangde is tricky because it can either mean our school, meaning Buddhists, or it can mean those whose own school, those who belong to a school. Here if it were me, I would translate it, those who belong to a school, whose own school is, you see what I mean? In some context, it means our school, meaning Buddhist. But I believe here, it can mean either, by the way. It has both meanings. One whose own school is blah, meaning if you belong to a school which is lower middle way or below. So how many schools we got?
3.5.
I'll kiss you, but you got the beard. Okay, 3.5. 3.5 schools. Because menche, on down, includes what you're talking about. Okay, lower middle way on down, which is 3.5 schools. Okay.
Oh, it's menche.
They do believe that the lack of a self which is self-standing, okay?
I'm having a hard time with that cursor being huge. I can't tell what line you're on.
That's why I have the line to the middle of the cursor. How about I do this? So I figured out why they put that line in the middle of the cursor. That's where it is. That's where it really is. Okay, so how about if I do it this way?
Means that
I wish I could make a little finger. Maybe somebody can figure it out. Anyway, if I click here, you see?
Yeah.
It'll go where the line is, this horizontal line. That's where the clicking is. Anyway, that doesn't help you much, does it? Okay, now,
Substantial.
the fact that there is no self which is self-standing, okay, is the subtle lack of a self to a person. Is the subtle lack of a self-nature to the person. Is accepted by 3.5 schools. Okay? Not only that, they accept it as senizopar,
The definition.
complete,
definition.
no, complete in every respect. And that's what it means. Senizopar means, and they don't have to clarify it any further. It's complete. If the fact that a person is not self-standing is enough for 3.5 schools to say it is dogme. It has no self-nature. Completely enough. No qualification needed. That's what senizopar means. No qualification needed. Complete in every respect.
Gyaltsen used that same phrase before.
Yeah. Now, somebody tell me what's going on here.
But
But
Yeah, there's a but. But.
Wow, that's gotta be.
But that description of no self-nature happens to be the main one for the second school. So 3.5 schools believe it,
So
but it's the Rangluk. They own it. It's their favorite one. Okay, got it? So I'm not saying other people can't have it, but it happens to be the favorite one of the second school.
Does this have something to do with how they're the ones who really assert that things are dependent on their parts?
well, it's the controller one, right? There's
No,
control.
it's the Rangyatupa.
Oh,
It's the self-standing thing.
right.
Yeah.
is the
One may imply the other, as we just kicked. You know, one may imply the other. This organizer in Indonesia, Kiki. Anyway, yeah, since it's their favorite one, I'm going to explain it here. Dear She, I'm going to cover it here. You know. By the way, get used to using alternate verbs like I'm going to cover it here. Don't keep repeating explain. I'm going to cover it here. You know, you can find alternate English words that make it more interesting for your reader than repeating explain. Okay. Kap dir means at this point in the text. So kap means point or occasion. Okay, kap. Why? Because this S, right? Because it's their main belief. It's their main belief. It's the main belief of the sutras. So I'm going to explain it here. Even though what?
They all.
Everyone.
It applies to the first 3.5 schools.
Yeah, even though 3.5 schools believe that it's not just a good description, it's senizopa.
Complete definition.
It's a comprehensive. That's not bad. It's a comprehensive description of the subtle lack of a self to a person. 3.5 schools believe to say it's not self-standing is a comprehensive description, but it's the sweetheart of the second school. Okay. Yeah.
Dodewa, is that a damka or a mistake?
I think it's a damka, and it's a good question. We can say dodepa or dodewa. Okay? There's a rule that in the third syllable you should use a B. There's a rule, like Hlasawa, person from Lhasa. You know? But
There were Depas.
anyway, so you see damka, you see either form. You can say dodepa or you can say dodewa. And what you can do if you really want to decide,
I'm doing
watch.
it right now.
look at this.
No, I'll tell you something sexier.
I'm doing it.
Okay.
Look it up in his own text.
Oh.
Is he consistent in using the B?
He sure is.
So far.
That means he believes it's okay. Okay, got it?
Yeah.
That's a quick trick
Cool.
to decide if it's a misspelling. Is he consistent in spelling it this way? He is. He meant it to be like that. Or the editor was fanatical mistaker. Now, see, I corrected it there, but I shouldn't have. That's uncorrected.
Cool.
I shouldn't have corrected it. Okay.
Where was that? Verse 2.
I don't know, something from last term. Okay. Yeah, now we're glad we have these reference numbers, right? You will thank me someday
Thank you.
For the reference. You know, when you become a famous lecturer on this book, you could say, class, turn to section 27. Because, of course, your book's going to be so popular, it'll be reprinted in many times with different page numbers. So you'll have a section number. Class, go to section 27. That's what we're doing with the diamond cutter, right? We're trying to protect ourselves from future editions.
Occasionally, I did side by side in the symbol for fun, and it's to tape but only 1600 to 500. So it's obviously.
The Dewas have 500?
Yeah, Dewas have 500, so it's not.
Okay, 3-to-1 odds that they're going to use a ba. Okay. All right. So let's go. He's going to quote Chang'e J. Chang'e Namje.
Jason Kappa.
Yeah, Jetson Kappa's book on distinguishing what's figurative from what's literal. He doesn't call it Lekshe Nimbo. Okay, this is a descriptive name of Jetson Kappa's book, but it's a legal alternate title.
So do we put it in?
I would.
Footnote?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, very good. Very good. Yeah. Now, Kansaki Dagme ni, the lack of a self to a person, Rande Tepa Cheshunki Dupta Mawa Shenki Tarna, Kansa Pumbodan Seni Mitumbirangi Tibizis and Mepat Samba Dodo. Rangde, those whose school is the philosophical, those who follow the philosophical school of either the greater or the lesser way. How many of the four schools are greater way? How many of the four schools are lesser way?
2 are the lower way.
2 and 2. Yeah, 2 and 2. So he's saying those who belong, right? Rangde, those who belong. And if someone translated it as Buddhists, I wouldn't object, but I don't think it's as accurate. Those who follow a school of philosophy, which is either a greater way or a lesser way, other ones, okay, others who follow a school which is either belonging to the greater way or the lesser way.
Che is an order.
I'm sorry?
Che is an order. Tekpa che chung.
Lesser or greater? Yeah, che. Yeah. According to them, dharna. Okay. According to them, dharna. Kansa pumbo dan seni mitumbi ranke to bizesu mepat samla duda. According to them,
we have our substantial in the sense of
they believe that the lack of self-nature to the person is no more than mepatsam, no more than. Okay, they believe that it is no more than the lack of self-standing. Okay, and being of a nature which is inconsistent with the parts of a person. Okay.
Should that zay have a year behind it?
Yeah. Substance. It's just substance rather than substantial.
Oh.
Okay. It is a substance, crystalline little thing in your heart, which is self-standing, and which is different in its nature from the body and mind of a person. Okay, got it?
What exactly is it saying you doing there?
Yeah.
Sorry. Oh, no, that's a Madhyamika expression that we've covered a few times.
By definition.
A basically different nature.
Oh, it's in me too.
Okay, a basically different nature. So tsenyi doesn't always mean you will be ill-served if you always think definition when you see tsenyi. Tsenyi can mean, you can go from definition to defining characteristics to basic nature. You choose one of the three. To say definition here would mislead your reader. They wouldn't understand what you're saying. To say defining characteristics would slow your reader down. But to say basic nature is comfortable for people, the basic nature of man is kind. That's something we see on the internet. Okay? It used to be the New York Times. We used to say if it's in the New York Times, it's good English. Now we say internet. Okay. I mean, if it's common on the internet, you can use it. If it's not common on the internet, don't use it. Sentient being. It's funny, nowadays you can look up sentient being on the internet, it'll say Buddhist expression for person. Which is bad. Okay. Okay. And I found it in a few of my older readings, and I'm sorry for that. Okay. This is an interesting mistyping. Shay is a legal word, meaning to accept. But the manuscript says Ngashe, which is correct. So that was a bitch, if I do say so. Excuse me. I was like, I spent like a few minutes on that. I was like, what the heck? What's he saying? And then I finally went to the carving, and I said, oh, you can think of it, right, Adam? You can imagine Nga as a B, right? Somebody thought it was a B. B is a Nga with a line on the side. Yeah. Okay. Daitsuni, now how does that work? Okay, Daitsuni, how does that work exactly? How does that belief work? Well, Ngashe Dzimbe Shidag Di. Now this gets into a very sexy thing. I don't know. What I find sexy is different. And you have to understand the two crucial words here are Jewo and Kulbu. Okay, Jewo and Kulbu, Lord and master, Lord and servant. Yeah, master and servant, master and servant. Okay, master and servant. How do you think it's going to apply here? Just to anticipate it. Utpala, why are they going to talk about master and servant here in the self nature of a person? What would the servant be? The body and mind. And who's the master? That soul. Okay, the soul. Now it's the crane driver. Okay, that there's somebody. I like to use the image of one of those big cranes that they use in Beijing, and it's huge. It's very, very big, and there's a little box on the top, and there's a guy there pulling the instrument. So that's how we see me. We believe Michael is up there pushing the arms and pushing the legs, and we believe that. We all believe that. We're part of us is really lower school all the time.
Is the Michael is the soul here?
Say again? It was kind of talking about a soul, but now it kind of changed. Now it's like the boss. I'm the boss, and my arms are a robot, and I tell them what to do. Michael is up here in a little box, and he tells the arms what to do. He tells the mouth to move. Okay? But that's not true. Your seeds are running the show. There is, you can say to your arm, don't get cut today, and it will get cut today. You don't own your arm, and you're not the boss. Don't get cancer, okay? All right? Don't forget. Don't get cancer today. I own you. You are mine. Okay? I prohibit you from getting cancer. Okay, like people have this belief, we believe it, and then one day we can't raise the arm. They go, come on, get up. You're on your bed, right? You're like, get up, and it doesn't get up. Bob Harper had a heart attack.
Really?
Yeah.
Recently?
Yeah, I looked it up because Chuntum told me. He was working out and he had a major heart attack.
Was he doing his video?
No. And he was dead out on the floor, and there was a doctor there working out, and he ran and got some electrical stuff, and he did it 3 times, and he brought him back, and he was unconscious for 3 days.
Fibrillation?
Yeah, and he came out, and he was like, where am I? So anyway, even Bob Harper doesn't own his body.
No.
Okay.
But we usually say, like, I have a body, I have a mind. Let's say
Yeah.
emphasize more on this belief.
Yeah. Who's I? Who's I if not your body?
I'm having a hard time putting that phrase together before.
Well,
the master.
I wanted to give you those two words to start with. So, get those strong in your mind. Get those strong in your mind. There's a boss, the Jewo. And that gives you a kind of a deeper appreciation of the word Jetsongkhapa. Same root, right? Or Dorje, king of stones. And Kulbu. Kulbu means the servant. The one that the boss bosses around. Okay? Like your wife and you. Okay. Shopping's hoping for one like that. Ngasha Zimbi. Now, there's confusing here is the she dot. And he's made an adjective out of foundation. The basic self. Okay? She dot. The basic self. The basic self that you're thinking of when you hold to the idea of I, me. Okay, when you think me, na she zin. Okay, the basic self you're thinking of, Stanley, okay, that she dot, the basic self, okay, the basic me you're thinking of is he's like the boss of the body and mind.
Oh.
Okay.
So what's that D? Was that in D?
This basic self, that basic self that you're thinking of, Utpala. You see, that basic self that you think of when you say me. When you say me, okay, when you're thinking, when you're holding to a me, the basic person, the basic self you're thinking of is almost as if he's, see, tabu means almost as if he's the boss of the body and mind. He runs the body and mind. He's the controller. He's the driver of the body and mind. Okay, body and mind's the cart. He's the driver. Okay. And that makes the body and mind something like the servant. And we hold them to be that way. Tar zin. We think of them. Here zin means we think of them as though they are, as though they were the servant, okay, the body and mind, my legs, my arms, my mind. That's the funniest one. I mean, it's a tragedy to think the movement of the arms and legs is coming from you. But even worse is to think that you have any control over the thoughts. I don't want to be depressed today. It's too late. You planted those seeds last week. Yeah, but I don't want to be depressed today. Shut up. What did Rinpoche used to say?
Just be happy.
Yeah, just be happy. These depressed people, they're about to commit suicide. They go up in his room. He's like, and they want, I need an hour with Rinpoche. I'm like, okay. Then they go up there and they say, I'm depressed. I'm going to kill myself. Rinpoche said, don't do that. Okay, see you later. Be happy. He said, be happy. Then they're like, ah. You can't control depression. It's coming out of seeds that you planted before. Change the seeds. Then next week you won't be depressed, but you got to be depressed this week. Sorry. Okay. Then he gets poetical. My body, my feelings, okay? Like this, you got to have a real chutzpah. My body, my feelings, me, my suk. This suk means body. My body, my feelings.
Is that like in quotes? Like that?
Yeah, exactly. But he doesn't, you say to yourself, okay? You say things like that, okay? You don't have to say etc. for sok all the time. You can say, you say things like that to yourself, okay? And then you think your body and mind are mine. They belong to myself.
Oh, that doc is me.
Yeah, they belong to the me. They belong to Upa. They belong to Stanley. These are mine. Oh, hey, today you got my feet talking. I guess it's better than the other two things.
Where's the belong to? Where's the belong to?
This Agiku-i right here. This Agiku-i. They are mine. Okay.
3 minutes.
Yeah, and you got 3 akikuis here that are crucial.
Yeah.
My body, my feelings, these are mine. Okay, then you know, Shay, you say that to yourself. And you are holding Wang Gyur Cha means the thing that I control. Wang Gyur Cha means the thing that I control. Okay, the thing that is under my power. Wang Gyur Ja makes it future participle, the thing which is under my control. By me, okay? It's the thing controlled by me. What? Your body and mind. They are your Wang Gyur Ja. They are your minions. Wang Gyur Ja is very close to minion. Minion is like slave or something. You're the boss. You're the big boss, and you tell these little people what to do. It's like volunteers at a Singapore event. You don't know their name. You will never know their name. You're like, could you get that book for me? You know, you feel like you are the big boss, and you're telling all these little people what to do. I'm talking about a new volunteer, like an 18-year-old lady who's gonna turn out to be shopping in 10 years. Okay. These are mine to boss around. Wang Gyur Ja means to boss around. These are mine to boss around. Yeah, okay. That's very powerful. Yeah. I mean mine. How much time I have?
2 minutes.
2 minutes.
Oh, we can do another sentence. Tena, therefore, Je Kultar.
It's like
This-
master and
The
servant.
master
Yeah,
servant.
to think of them as master and servant. Puboda seni mi tumba rangya tupa nawa deshindu yoba shamadi zesa yoba zimba. So this is cool. This is cool because he says, you want to know what substantial means? Because we've had that substantial, and there's huge debates about substantial, huge. So here's his opinion. You want to know what it is to think something is substantial? This Zen is to think. You want to know what it is to think that something is substantial? It is to have a shemba.
Attachment.
Yeah, an attachment or a strong belief, a strong irrational belief, shenba, to the existence of a me, to this thing that appears to you, okay, as though it were, okay, this thing that appears to you as though it were self-standing and of a basically different nature than your parts. This dung is than, okay, which is that thing which appears to you, okay, it appears to you lo more no to the face of your mind. It appears to you as though it is self-standing and of a basically different nature, of a basically different nature than the parts of you. What are they talking about? Me, Jay, the Lord, the boss. I'm the big boss. I'm the running the show. I'm the driver. Oh, where's the driver? I'm not the car, I'm the driver. Well, somewhere up here. Sometimes here. Chinese people, they point to the me, right? Me. I mean, American will go here, and it's oftentimes a Chinese person say, it was me. I saw it, isn't it?
Yeah, why?
I don't know. Maybe it's because you breathe here. I mean, you know, I don't know.
So how does the
say
J. Cole
American
fit into this? Like master and servants?
So like a master and servant, you hold things to be substantial, meaning that you have this strong belief that that it is the way it appears. Nangwa Shindu Yu, that there does exist, as it seems to be, that there is a me who is self-standing and of a basically different nature than my body and mind. He doesn't. You're right. He doesn't say doc. He should have. He should have thrown a doc in there somewhere. Okay. Because what he's describing is the J and not the kulwa so much.
Right.
Kulbu. Okay, not the cool boo. Boo, by the way, in Tibetan is always kind of diminutive. Yeah,
Okay.
Mikey, you know, little Misha in Russian. Okay. Okay.
Say G.
Little bird is chew.
Shoot.
Little cow is bu. A calf is gonna come in somebody's text today. Ba is a cow. Bu is a calf.
I say Bachu.
Yeah, bachuk is a cow.
Cow.
Ibuki joshi meto chao. Rira lingshi ninde genbadi. Sange shindu mite uargi. Roku nanda shingla chuparsho. Inam guru ratna mandala kamya dayami. Ikewo kun sunam yeshe tsotsoshin. Sunam yeshe lechungwe. Tampar kuni toparsho. Cool.
Yes.